Hi, everyone, and welcome to the 100th episode of my first season. As this is a milestone of sorts for a podcast, I'd just like to take the opportunity to thank everyone who has downloaded an episode or told a friend about it. The 100th episode calls for a very special guest, and hoo boy, do I have one for you. If you were an early 90s Geo, you may have heard of my next guest, and if you have never heard about this person, you will now. My guest today and I met during my first season in Turks and Caicos during the summer of 1994. He actually drove a dive boat from Club Med St. Lucia to Turks that season for a special reason, and we will talk all about that and what happened on that 7-day misadventure of his. He is one of the big reasons why my first season was so incredible, and you will hear why in just a moment. His first season was in St. Lucia as a scuba instructor in 1991, 92-ish. Hey, he's not big on dates. Leave him alone, guys. Okay? Fun fact about my guest. He taught juvenile offenders how to sail and scuba in Maryland and Florida before joining Club Med. So without further ado, please help me welcome the man, the myth, the legend, in his own mind. A man whose blue eyes put the Caribbean Sea to absolute shame. An ex-GO who could charm the pants off a donkey and then sell those same pants back to the donkey. From the city that never sleeps, he's the gift that keeps on giving the whole year. The one, the only, Cowboy will save a horse and ride a cowboy. How are you, sir?
Hey,
all right.
You are too kind, my man. Too kind.
I'm so happy you are here, Cowboy, and for the 100th episode, this is amazing.
Well, great. I'm so glad we finally hooked up. And you forgot the part about, man, of mystery and international intrigue.
That's right. I know you have a lot of nicknames, but I think the majority of Club Med know you by Cowboy.
Yes,
and we're going to get into a second how you acquired that nickname.
You got it.
All right. Like I said, you and I met in Turks in that amazing season of 94. But I want you to take me back a bit. Now, I mentioned in your intro that before Club Med, you taught juvenile offenders how to sail and scuba, correct?
I worked for a company called Associated Marine Institute, and we had what we call day programs, and we would take juvenile offenders that weren't as bad as some were, and we tried to give them, teach them scuba diving, sailing, fishing, marlin spike, all kinds of fun stuff, and then sneak a little education in there. And our goal was to either get them their GED and into the service, or get their GED and get them into college or some sort of trade school. And it was very unfortunate. I worked with a gentleman named Captain Buff Miller. He was a stellar man. He was a chief of sailing for Club Med, and we worked together at an Orlando Marine Institute. And it was unfortunate. We had a student who accidentally was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And he decided to go back to Club Med, and he took off. And I went to Baltimore, Maryland, to help.
Just a sec, Cowboy. I want to make sure I heard this guy's name correctly. You said his name was Buff Miller?
Yeah, Captain Buff Miller, we called him.
Okay.
He ended up going to Sonora Bay, Mexico. And
right.
I went up. He left the company, went to Sonora Bay, Mexico. I stayed with the company, and I went up to an institute in Baltimore, Maryland. And I was not happy with it, with the company anymore. So I called up Captain Buff Miller. Now, remember, I'm up in Baltimore, Maryland. There's about 3 feet of snow on the ground. So I called Captain Buff Miller on Wednesday, and I get a hold of him Wednesday, and he said, call this guy Boo Boo.
Okay,
up in New York City.
Now, just a sec. Hold on a sec, gosh, Douglas. Okay, you keep telling me this, but I have a hard time believing you. So this sentence you would only hear a sentence like this in Club Med. Buff Miller told you to call Boo Boo in New York City, and Boo Boo is an actual person, right?
Yes. Okay. Boo Boo actually was the man to talk to about getting a job wherever you wanted in Club Med. At the time, I didn't know that, but I'm usually pretty cordial to everybody.
And Boo 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 was French?
I believe so, yes.
Did we ever find out how we got the nickname Boo Boo? Or no?
No, I never knew and never found out. I only spoke to him that one time.
Okay. All right. So did he offer you a job on the spot? Did you have to go in for an interview?
He said, he asked me, I said, well, I did the same thing you did. I said, Buff, are you sure this guy, you want me to call this guy Boo Boo? He goes, yeah, that's his name. Call him. Tell him I told you to call. So Greg, swear to God, I called the number and the receptionist answered. I said, yes, I would like to speak to a Mr. Boo Boo.
Oh, okay, you put the accent on it. All right. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And so the gentleman answered the phone. Yes, this is Boo Boo. I said, Boo Boo, my name is John Penland, and I'm a scuba diver and instructor, and I'd like to know if I could, join the Club Med team. He goes, okay, who referred you? I said, Captain Buff Miller down in Sonora Bay, Mexico. He goes, okay, call me tomorrow at 10 o'clock a.m. So next day I called 10 o'clock a.m. He goes, okay, you're going to St. Lucia. Now, this is Thursday. He says, you're going to St. Lucia. You're going to St. Lucia on Saturday. I said, well, he says, you have your passport and everything. I said, no. And Boo Boo got kind of upset. He said, well, okay, it's important. You have to have your passport. Okay, go to this address, go in, get a picture taken, and then they'll tell you where to go from there. I said, okay, Boo Boo. So the address was in Washington, D.C. So I go down to Washington, D.C., past all the guards, get my picture taken, and I go in, and I said, yes, Boo Boo sent me from Club Med. And a bunch of people scurried around. 5 minutes later, I got my passport in my hand. And from there, I go home. It's Friday. I call Boo Boo, tell him I got my passport, that I'm packed, ready to go. He goes, okay, you take the flight out of Baltimore, Maryland tomorrow at 12 o'clock. Oh, I said, okay. So now, mind you, this started Wednesday. The ball started rolling Wednesday. There's still 4 feet of snow on the ground. So all I have is pants, shirts, long sleeve. And I go to the airport, and the lady says, we don't have your name anywhere, but if Boo Boo says you just jump on the plane.
Oh,
That's
wow.
what this guy carries a lot of weight.
Well,
So
yeah. Wait, the fact that would never happen today, right? Okay.
oh no,
Yeah, yeah,
not post 9/11.
yeah, that's right. Wow.
So I jumped on the plane, and I was heading to St. Lucia, and we made one stop in Miami, and we boarded planes, and this is where.
Well, yeah. If I recall, I mean, my memory's a little shaky, but if I recall, you told me that you actually got your nickname Cowboy on the plane to St. Lucia, and you gave another now famous Geo his nickname. Is this true?
Yes. It's a Club Med story, Greg.
Let me
As
hear
you
it.
know, I got a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got on the plane. I was sitting right next to a gentleman by the name of Larry Poland. Now, this guy looked exactly like Tom Selleck, and Tom Selleck looked exactly like him. However we going to look at it, and he was dressed to the nines. I had my blue jeans on with holes in them. My pointy boots and a nightcap on. A watchman's cap, and we're talking, about yeah, we're headed to St. Lucia. And I said, well, I'm going to work for Club Med. He's like, well, so am I. And then he kind of looked at me funny. He goes, where are you from? I said, well, I'm from, New York City. And I said, via Baltimore, Maryland. He goes, oh, okay, you got family up there. I said, well, yeah, I was in, and I told him a little bit about what's going on with the juvenile offenders. He goes, okay. I said, well, where are you from? He goes, well, I'm from California, Long Beach area. I said, I thought you had a little West Coast, didn't you? And he goes, no, you sound a lot like a cowboy. And I looked at him. I don't know if you ever saw the movie 1942. And I said, well, you sound a lot to me like someone from Hollywood. Hollywood. So I ended up, he said, what? I said, Hollywood. You remind me of someone named Hollywood. I said, and I explained to him, I said, you look just like Tom Selleck. You got the moves and the grooves like Tom Selleck. He goes, well, you remind me just of a cowboy,
Well, yeah. You said something interesting earlier. Can you explain how I forget how you put it, but you said people think you're like, when you go to certain parts of country, people think you're from there. Do you recall? You just told me
if I'm in New York,
yes,
anywhere, if I'm anywhere but in the Bible Belt, people think I sound Southern.
okay,
But if I go into Florida or anywhere below the Bible Belt in the States, people think I'm from up north. So I got an accent that doesn't fit anywhere.
Okay.
So,
and
well,
and
I'm a
that
broken cowboy.
and thus Cowboy was born. All right.
Thus, Cowboy was born,
Now,
and
now,
Hollywood
was it
was
his first
born.
season, Cowboy? Was it Hollywood's first season or no?
It was also Hollywood's first season.
Okay.
And I mean, we got off the plane with those nicknames. Of course, we were having, several beverages, that
As you do.
as we do. We had several beverages on the plane, and we loved the nicknames. And so, when we got there for 9 months, we were Hollywood and Cowboy, and it just stuck.
Now,
And so,
do you remember do you remember that whole first week arriving, that first day arriving?
no.
Okay. All right, we're gonna call this my fourth season then, because maybe your memory is a bit better around there. No, no. Well, you know what?
But if you remember, you can tell me.
Okay, well, what I find interesting is like when we did our pre-interview last week, you told me your first season was in '93. So I started going through your photos and realized, no, Cowboy, you were in St. Lucia, 91, 92. And what I find even stranger and cool is that, Ryan Leach was my chief of sports in Turks. I see him, he's land sports your season, right? And this guy just looks like Tom Selleck. So are you telling me you had two Tom Sellecks going around that season?
Yeah. Well, Tom looked more like a Tom Selleck with glasses.
That's right. Yeah. I never saw him in glasses. Okay.
But Ryan, Mr. Leach, not Robin Leach, but Ryan. Was it Ryan?
Right. Yeah, Ryan Leach. Yeah.
Ryan Leach. He was an excellent land sport guy. And then I remember Hollywood and I and a couple other guys we met. Terry Tricot, very, very nice Frenchman. And you were already in church.
We'll get to there. I just want to take a bit of time on St. Lucia to see if you remember. Well, what do you remember about St. Lucia? Anything?
No, I remember. Well, we pulled in there, and it was Hollywood Cowboy. The other scuba team was there for about another 2 months during the transition, and I read into the young man named Yanni. Unfortunately, he's passed away.
Yes,
a great
Yanni
man.
Nielsen. Yes.
Well, he was a officer and gentleman, but he did have his Club Med side, and he kind of said we both kind of hit it off, and he said, Cowboy, I'm gonna teach you a little bit about Club Med. I said, okay. He goes, when you're at the party, you're at the disco. He says, approach the women, downwind, so they don't see you coming. Then you wait till one of the women separate themselves from the herd. And that's when you go over and start talking your game. Okay. I'm like, okay. I said, all right, Johnny. And now I'm starting to wonder if I got a loon on my hands here.
Okay.
And then he said he's just kidding. And he goes to me, but anyway, I got these two girls, and she has a friend, and I need a date for her friend. Do you want to go?
Now, did he describe the friend to you? Was she a supermodel or?
No, I wondered why. And I wonder why he didn't describe it. I knew right away when we all met out front of the restaurant. His date was a supermodel, Greg. Okay. My date looked like my uncle in a dress.
Okay. Okay.
He didn't do that to me once. He didn't do it to me twice. He did it about 4 times. And finally, I said, "That's it, Johnny."
No more. It took you 4 times to catch on. Okay.
Yeah, 4 times. I caught on. Okay. The Cowboys might not be the quickest, but they got endurance.
Oh man. Okay.
Yeah, we got endurance now.
I suppose at this point I should talk about diving in St. Lucia before we go. So did you like did you like the deux pitons, like diving at the volcanoes? Did you like that? Okay.
I'll tell you, Greg, I've been very fortunate. I think karma. I thank God that I've been in a lot of places and dove in a lot of countries. St. Lucia had to be the most spectacular. It was drift diving. There's different types of diving, but drift diving is pretty much the easiest. And you just drop in the water, just drift with the current, for however long, then you come to the surface, you get back on the boat. But going around the bottom of the pitons, it was just, it's hard to describe. I'm at a loss for words. how beautiful it is. It's pretty much untouched by other, other than Club Med going down there diving. And it's one thing I liked about Club Med, that we were trained to teach how to dive unintrusively. And yes, that's a big word for me.
Okay. Wait, I'm looking it up.
Signed up this morning in preparation for this interview.
I'm looking it up online here. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Now, and I think you told me that St. Lucia, like of all the resorts you worked in, was your favorite, right? Above all, correct?
Yes, it was. It was my favorite, and I'll tell you why, Greg, because it was stuck in like 1930, 1940. And I don't mean stuck as in a bad way. I mean is in a good way. They had two kinds of rum. They had Bounty rum and Bounty strong rum.
Yeah.
That was it. Ice was a luxury, and you got 2 cubes. If you wanted more, you paid for them.
Okay. Oh man. Okay. All right. Yeah, we're talking. This is early '91, folks, or '92 ish. Okay. So
yeah, 92 ish, 91.
And you did you learn any Creole while you were there? Because I know you loved the St. Lucians, right? Like you got along great.
Love the St. Lucian, but the Creole I learned isn't something I don't think it's iPod safe for the 100th.
Oh, got it. Not safe for work. Okay.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah. It's funny because wherever you go, you always learn the dirty words first.
That's right.
And then you learn the important stuff like where's the airport, where are the bars.
That's right. Yeah. Now, how did you deal with like the 7-day work week when you got there? Was it okay for you?
Yeah, it took a little getting used to, and then again, Yanni was, taught me how to sneak out of crazy signs.
Take a nap, right?
Yeah, take a nap. I also learned from Johnny Scuba.
Johnny Scuba, yes.
An infamous guy, and I haven't run into him yet. He's later down the line, but
he was in Turks with us. If we're talking about the same Johnny Scuba, that was in Turks, right? Okay.
And anyway, Yanni and Johnny taught me the 5-minute nap.
Yes, Johnny taught me, and I was laughing at him. I said, "How? It's impossible. You can't nap for 5 minutes." And boy, was I wrong?
Was I wrong? Yeah, I set my alarm for 5 minutes, 50 minutes, whatever I had. I'll be damned, Greg, if I didn't wake up somewhat refreshed.
Oh, not me. It was the worst thing I could do to myself. But I felt like death. I would chug a whole can of Coke with 6 packs of sugar just to try and wake up from that nap. Oh no, it was brutal. But you had to do it, right? You had to get it. So you had to get your sleep.
And for the most part, all the chief of the villages that I worked for were very nice. Some better than others, a lot nicer, but all nice. And they rewarded us, the GOs. We got time to go and do stuff outside the village. So when they asked you to do something extra, especially these chiefs, it wasn't a problem. Nobody, everyone kind of jumped in and many hands make light work type thing. And I remember Dano, the chief of scuba that year, we even did a
okay, I think I know what you're talking about, Cowboy. Are you talking about the show La Cage aux Folles? Because I saw some photos there on your Facebook.
It was the one show, and it was great for us because the scuba team, we always try to stay in shape, because of you're in the elements, it's you're always, you need to be in shape in case anything goes south, so
you mean as a scuba instructor,
you're in shape.
Okay,
so we're kind of, I wouldn't say we were manly or anything, but we had a sense of false bravado, I guess you could say. And then anyway, the La Cage aux Folles, we all had to dress up like women. And in the beginning of the season, we all just went in there and put on the clothes and just got out there and did what we had to do. By the end of the season, and I was getting a little nervous and worried for all the other scuba Joes, we're in there putting on the makeup nice and neat, making sure that our boobs look just right. And I had to stay one time. I said, would you guys stop for a minute and look at us? You're acting like you're putting on makeup with your mothers. And so we were dressed to the nines by the end of the season. And actually, we're one of the favorite part of the show was our little number, our little skit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't recall you doing a single show in Turks and Caicos when we met, right?
No, I didn't do any shows because I was boat captain when I went up there.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Yeah. You mind getting into that right now?
oh no, not at all.
Okay, so yeah, when I met you on the dock. So it's my first season. I see this guy, blue eyes pull up, shining a mile away. Okay, and I'm the first season. I don't know what's going on, and somehow now I think you told me it took 7 days, correct, to sail from St. Lucia to Turks.
Yeah, it was the end of our season. They shut down St. Lucia about 2 months early, and they had planned at the end of the season to take the sailboats or take the two dive boats,
which is to Blue Lagoon and Long John.
Yeah, Blue Lagoon, Long John. Blue Lagoon belonged to Club Med, and Long John to General Lemire, a very nice man, and his son. And so, because they shut the village down early, I had 2 months to kill. So I knew several people in the village. So I ended up going, and a guy gave me a hammock and a place to go stay. So I actually lived on the hillside for about 2 months, and I'd pay a little kid to swing my hammock and run and get me rum and cokes all day.
Wait a minute.
My hammock real rough and said, "Hey, are you Cowboy?" I said, "Yeah." Well, I'm such and such from Club Med. It's time to go back to work.
Okay, wait. So you weren't even staying in a shack? You were just in a hammock?
Yeah, no shack, nothing. Just
okay.
Just a hammock.
All right.
But I had a tarp over it, so for when it rained.
Okay, well, that's the Cowboy way, guys. Okay.
That's the Cowboy way.
All right, so they tell you, look, Cowboy, we need someone to drive this boat from St. Lucia to Turks.
We need to go. And I'm like, okay, I'm your man. And we got all loaded up, fueled up, ready to go. And it's about a 7-day trip. So the first stop was Martinique, and they had family there. So we went out, ate at this place. What was so distinctive about it is they gave you a bottle of rum, they marked it, and you drank as much out of the bottle as you wanted, and then they marked it again, and they would charge you like that. That's how they charge you. They didn't charge you by drink. You made your own drinks. And the rum there, they had a rum distillery, so it was quite cheap. And needless to say, we didn't get up too early to start the next day.
Yeah, your bottle didn't have to be marked, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah. We just got
all right.
And so from there we went to Guadeloupe, and from Guadeloupe we fueled up. Then we went from Guadeloupe. We went up to
was it Dominican Republic? The third stop, Cowboy?
Yeah, third stop, Dominican Republic, and we fueled up there. And the border guards were just guys dressed as civilians with shotguns, slung over their shoulder. I mean, not the border guards, but the
immigration. Immigration?
Yeah. The border, not border patrol. They come on the boat.
Oh, the harbor patrol.
Harbor patrol.
Like Coast Guard, harbor patrol. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So General Lemire flips them $100 bill right away, so they don't find something that wasn't there.
Okay. Okay.
And so we fuel up there, and we got some really bad fuel, and so we leave from there, and this is our fifth, going on our 6th day. And while we're there, we take a little break to go out and see the town, and we go to this one bar, myself, my mechanic, General Lemire, and his son, and the other mechanic, and we go to this bar, and we notice that there's all women all lined up against the wall. And we're all figuring out, well, why aren't they dancing with these guys? And then, the owner of the place comes over and speaking French with General Lemire, and we found out that these women they'll dance for you for the right price if you follow me.
Understood. Okay.
And so anyway, we have a nice evening that night, and everyone dances as only we can dance. And then we get on the boat, and the bad gas is really slowing us down. We got to change the fuel filters every couple of hours, and we're losing time. And then while we're doing this, we somewhat get off course.
Okay. And okay. Yeah. So on the 6th day you get lost, and you guys decided, much like a very famous captain, Captain Ron, you guys decided to pull in somewheres and ask directions, right? Okay.
Well, yeah, sort of. I think both. We were somewhat in the shipping channel.
Okay.
So,
that's right. Okay.
Yeah, so every boat that came by, we were trying to hail them on the radio to get our coordinates, and we couldn't get our coordinates because no one was answering us back. Because a lot of those people, they just put it on autopilot. And they're asleep most of the time during the day, and there's probably around the clock shifts, and so we're going on the seventh day, and we're all getting a little nervous because we're going slow. We think we're going in the right direction, and and then the mechanic, he every morning or every time he goes to go to the bathroom, take a leak,
You heard a scream.
he's screaming.
Okay,
I'm pissed and laughing.
Okay, so he picked up a little souvenir from your stop, right?
A little souvenir from the Dominican Republic that was going to last until he met Sister Penicillin.
Okay. Okay. And I'm guessing you didn't have any Sister Penicillin on the boat. No. Okay.
On the boat, we had plenty of beer
and rum. Okay.
So, okay. Well, we're all starting to get a little nervous. General Lemaire and myself, more so than anyone else, because they don't realize what's really going down. We're out in the middle of nowhere on two small boats, and pirates live, and it's hard to be found out on the speck, near the speck, out in the middle of nowhere. And so we started taking all the tanks off one boat and putting them on the other one. I think it was the Long John had the best chance of making it. So we're taking off all the boats. We set the anchor on the Blue Lagoons, where if it drifts off, hopefully it'll catch anchor somewhere, and we might be able to find it later. And now we're getting ready to transfer all the fuel from one boat to the other. So we got at least full tanks on. Instead of two boats with half tanks, we got one boat with a full tank. And right about that, here comes the last ship, and we hail it, and sure enough, it gives us our coordinates. And we were almost dead on. And so we changed the fuel filters one last time, and we start going. And by now, my mechanic is, every time he goes to take a leak, he's writing his name in 3/4 inch steel bars. It hurts so bad when he goes to the bathroom. he's bending the metal to write his name.
Okay. Now let me take it from here just for a sec. So I remember like it was yesterday, summer '94. You guys arrived late afternoon, sun was shining, all the scuba team was called to the dock. Yanni's there, and I see I'm a scuba gestion. I'm not even an instructor. I see the instructors removing tanks from your boat, and I'm like, what's going on? And there's 200 tanks on the boat. We have to offload. And I said, well, why? He goes, well, they have to be scraped, sanded, and repainted. And I told Yanni, which idiots are going to do that? And he said, we are. So you actually brought 200, I kid you not, scuba tanks. And for us to do, it was St. Lucia's tanks, but Turks and Caicos had to do them. I never understood that, but that's how I spent my summer, guys. Okay. And when we were unloading them, because they were deep in the hull of the ship, right? You were on top. You're this larger than life character, the blue eyes, the cowboy. You're handing out nicknames to everyone. I remember we had a guy from England. His name was Bill. And Bill was in the hold. His job was to take the tanks and pass them. And he had frizzy hair, which just looked like Sideshow Bob at the end. And you gave him the nickname Gargoyle because every time his head popped out of the hole there, he looked like death. Okay. And his hair was going every which way. You gave me the name Mr. Clean. Okay. I didn't like that one too much, but hey, I took it. And then
I remember telling you one time, you probably don't remember. I said, Greg, hey, Mr. Clean. One of your hairs is out of place. I think it's number 199.
Yes, I do. Yeah. And I thank you for that, because I put it back where it belonged.
Yeah, right, and then, we can't be running around like that.
Yeah. And then
how gauche.
That's right. And then you proceed to spend the season in Turks with us. And I think you were combo scuba instructor, dive boat captain, right?
Yes. It was I got another place. Again, I'm very fortunate. I got to go everywhere, but Turks and Caicos had the best beaches, and that wall dive that we had, Greg, of course,
Oh yes,
unbelievable. It's a really good dive, and it was a great place to do both. Be a boat captain and scuba dive.
Yeah, and you reunited with Yanni, who's on the scuba team. And I remember because my job was just to stay in the shack all day. So guys, not only did I have to paint tanks and scrape them, I had to listen to the radio. But Yanni would come in every now and then when you were on the boat, and you guys would exchange quotations. I like to call.
Yes,
You'd be
yes,
like,
yes,
Judge not used to be judge, and then Yanni would
yes.
come back with one and fire back. And this went on for like half an hour. I don't know where you guys got all these quotes from, but
I tend to, I can't touch the philosophical bone if need be.
okay. Well, before we get to philosophy, we got a lot more to cover. Now, I got so many good stories. I don't know which one to dive in first.
Oh, let's
Okay,
keep it
so
going where you almost get eaten alive by sharks.
okay, well, yeah. So yeah, I'm still relatively new to scuba diving. I was certified, now we open water one, not an instructor, but you needed a bag man. You come up to me, Greg, I need a bag man. But you know what? You're a cowboy. It sounds like fun. It was like 5:00, the dives were over. And you explained to me that you found a restaurant that gave you, or would give you $2.50 a pound for grouper. Is that
Grouper and other fish, good fish.
That's right. So I still don't know what I'm doing, but it's a free dive, right? I'm a cowboy. But you kind of leave me at one point, right? And
well, at one point, at first, you thought I was talking about drugs. I'm like, no, 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 no.
Yeah. The bag man. Yeah, I thought, okay, I never did this before, but okay.
But I knew of a place just south of the state park, so we weren't doing anything illegal. I knew full well that there were going to be sharks involved, but I didn't want to tell you.
Yes, I did not know that part. Yeah, and I didn't know that grouper bleeds so profusely when you harpoon them.
Yeah,
Okay.
nor did I. And I don't know if you noticed why I was swimming so fast.
Well, yeah, you came up over the wall and big grouper on your thing there, and I see behind you, and I'm like, I didn't know I think the hand sign for shark is I know the hand sign for land shark. I didn't know the one for
that's
shark.
what you did. Yeah, so
okay.
So I remember giving you all that, and you remember the Australian guy was driving the boat. I can't remember.
Yeah, but, Matt, I think was his name.
You got about. It was a good day.
Well, yeah. Let me just say, the first fish, which I didn't see because I was just having fun, maybe 10 feet below the surface, and all of a sudden something hit me in the chin. So you were spearing him and then sending him up to me, but I didn't notice it till the grouper hit me in the chin.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's what he wants, a bag man. Well, okay, so now I understand my role here.
Okay. Yes. So I'm filling you up with fish, and then I remember looking around, making sure everything was safe because I wasn't going to hang out to dry that bad.
Okay,
I didn't want you to lose a limb.
Thank you.
And so we had about 20 pounds, and I said, okay, we'll call it a day. And I started going towards the boat. I motioned for you to come towards the boat. And that's when I see about 3 sharks following you.
Yeah.
And that's when I started like telling you to come a little bit quicker. Yeah. And you weren't really catching on because the bag was so heavy you were dragging it.
Yeah,
but you couldn't see the sharks behind it because all the blood in the water. And I'm literally laughing so hard I'm about to die. It's either go to the surface and lose track of you, or stay here and risk dying. So I stayed and risked dying because I didn't want. If anything would happen to me, I would have taken it too. It would have been my fault. So, but I was too far away. It didn't matter if they were going to light into you. You were a dead man anyway.
That's right.
But I think I told you towards the end of the season when I was on the plane.
That's right. You did. You did Sonora Bay too, which if we have time, we'll talk about too. Like that was your one village in Mexico, right? But
yes, that's the one that was one of the most beautiful villages, land wise, because you had the mountains that went up to the desert. The desert went up to the ocean. It was beautiful. When I got back from that, I was feeling very nice, very, very good. I remember you, myself, and Yanni went to dinner.
Yes.
And we were seated with some young ladies, and I remember looking at the young lady next to me. She kind of, smiled. I smiled at her, and I put my hand on her leg, and she didn't look upset or mean or anything. And she didn't mind, and I just looked at her, and I introduced myself. First she introduced herself, and I said, well, hi. Nice to meet you. I'm Cowboy, and yes, I am the one your mother warned you about.
Yeah, you were very upfront.
Yes.
Of course,
And we had a great time, the young lady and I. I think we would, after that, we saw each other back in the States.
And I think Yanni was with the supermodel again that night, if I'm not mistaken,
Yes,
right?
yeah, I had the
Okay.
supermodel. I wasn't
Okay.
going out with the I think you had the uncle in the dress that night.
Okay. Well, it was more, yeah, I was actually there more for yours and Yanni's company, but yeah, we got a great photo of that, which we'll put with this episode. So
Yes.
great night. All right, I wouldn't mind talking about Sonora Bay for a sec because you spent a season there as scuba geo. I'm not going to ask you what year, but it's probably after 95 or around 95 ish,
Yeah.
as you like to say.
I have no idea, Greg.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Yeah, we'll place it around 95 ish. Okay,
Yes.
and beautiful. Yeah, I went there on vacation, so yeah, as you say, the mountains, the desert, it's all beautiful. The giant
Beautiful.
cacti, yeah, and you get to dive with seals there. Was that your first seal dive?
Yeah, first seal dive with it was really they're so inquisitive. The female seals would bite your fins and pull you back. And
Yeah,
the male seals would come up and hit your head with their nose. The
yeah.
back of your head.
And then the big bull or the big mama drops in the water, and you could hear him, right? Like, brr.
Yeah, they're the big bulls.
Yeah.
And then you have mama, overlooking the baby seals. And the baby seals they're just like kids.
Yeah.
They would bite your fins so you couldn't swim. It was really neat.
Your snorkel.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they would come right at you and like at 60 miles an hour, then turn on a dime right in front of your face mask, right, and just veer off.
Yeah. And there was one particular time there was we canceled the dive, but there was a pot of killer whales, and just as we turned around, get ready to anchor the boat, and the stern of the boat was facing all the seals. This killer whale comes up and chomps on a seal, squirts blood through its mouth, and then shoots out about 10 feet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and everyone said, "Well, I think we're done diving today." I wouldn't get in the water.
Okay.
They won't attack humans, but I wasn't about to find out.
Now, in all your seasons as scuba instructor, like I do know, I say a lot that scuba instructors like to pull pranks on each other. Like I remember in Turks, some scuba instructors would put pieces of pizza in the BC of the fellow scuba instructor, and you had sturgeons and Turks and Caicos were like the piranha of the ocean. And so, did you ever do any kind of pranking like that?
Any season? I got pranked myself.
Oh, you did?
Yes, there's every now and then, and I don't mean to sound bad or anything, but sometimes stuff will get stolen, and there's no telling who did it.
Yeah.
But I mean, and again, it might have been an accident. Anyway, I'm trying not to make this a negative, but stuff would come up missing. And this one guy was talking to me about, yeah, man, I got some stuff missing. I can't believe it. And he was walking with me, and things very rarely, rarely shock me. But I get to my room, I open up my room, I go inside. There's not anything in my room, just the paint on the walls. And I looked at him and I said, I'll be damned. They stole my room. And I finally found it down the street in someone else's. It was put up just the way it was in my room. So all the culprits, once the joke was over, all the culprits came and helped me put it back.
Okay. Well, they must have really loved you, right? Because that's a lot of work to do for a prank, man. They
yeah, but there's one other thing. When I was flying out there, Greg, I missed a day. And I'll tell you what happened is, it was an international flight, so I had to be there 2 hours early, had to have my passport, my luggage, everything, be 4-0 square sailor. So I get up in line, I got my passport out, I hand it to her, I signed the papers. She sees I got my luggage, put my luggage up there, and she goes, you got your passport, you're 2 hours early, you got your luggage just the way it needs to be. However, this plane left yesterday. So I looked at her, I said, ma'am, if you help me get to Sonora Bay, Mexico, because I got a job waiting on me, I swear to God, I'll take life more serious. And she said, well, that's the first reaction I ever had like that.
Was your chief in Sonora? Was it Martin Chavez? Was that what you?
Martin Chavez, probably the best chief I've ever worked for, by far the best chief I ever worked with. He had his wife and 2 children there, and they were very, very nice. Accompanied, I took him and taught both his kids how to scuba dive. They're very nice kids. They're young, young boys, so they're a little rambunctious, but they'd hang out with me. We got in trouble. I mean, not serious trouble, but trouble enough.
Yeah. Well,
when the mom takes me and one of the kids by the ear, you're in trouble.
Well, yeah, but you're one of those guys that gets in trouble and you can't stay mad at, because if I recall, I mean, if we can go back to Turks a second, you were hauling a boat, and which took a couple hours. Was this I can't remember if it was in Turks, but no, it must have been because Yanni was with you. I think you guys were playing chess and drinking some rum, right?
Back having some rum, and we've been towed by another boat.
Yes.
So they had to have a couple people on that boat just in case something, a line broke or something. We can put the anchor down.
No need to mention anyone's name, but I think you had a disagreement with one of them, right? One of the captains.
The guy that was driving the other boat.
Yeah.
God bless him. He didn't really know what he was doing, but he had his girlfriend with him, so he was trying to impress. And Yanni, it was of all things a pacifist. He lectured me for about 50 minutes where I was ready to jump over.
Well, he had a very calming presence, right?
Yes, he did.
Whatever he said,
I liked about him.
Yeah, it made sense. Whatever he said.
So anyway, we get in there, and I'm trying to tell the guy how to park the boat, because he just wants to leave the boat in the middle of the channel. How to park the boat. Well, he doesn't realize I speak enough French to get my face slapped, right? So he starts saying something to me in French, and I'm like, aha, I know what you're saying. So, we started.
Well, and you're from New York, right? So.
Yeah, and I'm from New York. I know how to fight and run at the same time.
Yeah, you don't mess with someone named Cowboy from New York, guys.
Yeah, so then I hear Yanni behind me. Now, John. No. He goes, now, Cowboy, there's not enough room to swing a cat. Why don't you just stop all this silliness? And I swear to God, I started laughing. Yanni's got me laughing. Now Yanni's laughing, I'm laughing. Okay. So Yanni and I both jumped off the side of the boat, swam to shore. I smoothed it over the Cowboy way. I ended up calling Boo Boo.
Yeah. Boo Boo, I did a boo boo, right? Okay.
Yeah, I did a boo boo, and so that's what I think. I went over to.
Yeah, well, yeah. For some reason, you did a season in Catacas, Spain, right? Which is very odd for like a North American geo to find himself. But you were like hitchhiking or traveling.
Yeah, hitchhiking.
And you run out of money or something.
Yeah, when you run out of that's what I loved about Club Med. You run out of money, you call them up. The thing was, in Sonora Bay, I was working with a gentleman called. He was real high up in the Club Med. His name, we used to call him Benito, because his last name or first name or something was Benito, which meant pretty in Spanish. And I talked to him because a lot of the other Geos that I was working with in Sonora Bay were going to Caracas.
Mm-hmm. Oh, really?
And so some of us, we always had a small group of us that would stick together and go, because people always ask, you guys live on on a beautiful deserted island, for 9 months. What do you do on vacation? I told them that we go dig a ditch for a week, in some big city. And so we're back. We all decided to go to Rome, and then from Rome we went down to Spain to see the Barcelona, and from Barcelona we started heading up north, and we all kind of ran out of money. So Benita said that I could work at the Caracas village because they have English people from the UK. And so once I got used to speaking the King's English, I was fine. It's super. It was a beautiful village. The diving was a little bit colder and different, but it was again, Club Meds are in some of the beautiful places on earth, and this place was nice. I've been nicer places just because. I mean, they're all beautiful. They're all 9s and 10s,
Yeah, much like Yanni's dates, right? Okay. But This village was only open in the summer, correct?
Yeah, it's only open in the summer because it's too cold in the winter.
And how was the visibility for diving? Was it like 10 feet, 20 feet, or was it
Oh,
more?
it depends. It depends. Most of the time it was really good because the water was really cold. So
Okay.
you tend to have better visibility with colder water.
Now, I can't believe I'm asking this next question. Did anything unusual happen to you that season? Or
Uh,
was it once you had a nice, normal, quiet season?
yeah, for once, nice, normal, quiet season.
Okay. Oh, good, good. All right. That's good to hear. And I think that might have been your last season, or St. Lucia was, I think.
I think yes, no. At the end of that season, we all went to Paris, and that was the big city we went and visited at that time. At the end of the season, and then again when I ran out of money, I called up Steve-O. I said, Steve-O, where do you want me to go? And I wanted to go back to St. Lucia. And Steve-O said, well, you're not going to want to, but I want to go back to St. Lucia. So I acted like he was doing me a favor. And so we all went back to St. Lucia, and this is my third time down in St. Lucia. I went back as boat captain, and it was really nice because I got to, you got a lot more freedom because you're really kind of part of maintenance. But again, I worked with a real good sports guy, and so I helped the scuba team out a lot. I would do night dives, and because they work, the scuba geos got a lot of they worked hard, they earned their money, but everyone did. Don't get me wrong, everyone every
No,
geo earned their money.
well, no, but don't forget, especially scuba. Like for those that do dive or don't dive, like in the beginning, you're exhausted after a dive,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, you
and
gotta get
so
used to it.
yeah, you guys would do, like, it was common to do two tanks in the morning, one in the
Yeah,
afternoon, and one night dive, right? So
yeah.
that
Then teach. Then we had to teach.
yeah,
Uh,
exactly. No, and then
uh,
do luggage and the shows and
yeah,
now,
shows
like
and lovers. So yeah, it
now.
took us time, but once you got into the groove, it was nice. And I had a scooter, and I really loved getting to know the locals because they are very good people, very proud people. And there was this little elementary school on the way, and they got out of work. They knew where they got out of work. They got out of school at a certain time, but they would wait for me, and they'd line up and they'd wait for me, and I'd drive my scooter. I knew exactly what they were waiting for. I'd grab one of them, take it for a ride on my scooter, come back, grab the other one, and if I had time, I'd do the whole line twice. But it just really made my day because these kids would never ride on something like that until maybe they're much, much older.
See, and that's probably one of those special moments and memories you're glad you have, right?
Oh gosh, yeah, it was one of the better times. I remember that in the time you almost got eaten alive by sharks.
Wow. Well, I'm happy to contribute to that. Okay. Hey, besides like some of the names we mentioned already, like Dan Beeman and Yanni Nielsen, Martin Chavez, were there any other people? Like, do you remember any other the chiefs of villages that you had a good time with?
Martin Chavez,
Well,
Lafise,
oh yeah,
Lafise,
Lafise. Yeah, okay,
yeah,
sure, sure.
Lafise. He was very good, and that's when
Was that in Sonora Bay? Sonora Bay?
Chief of Sports.
Oh, okay.
And Martin Chavez was also chief out in Caracas, I think,
Okay.
when I
Okay.
was there. There's a
Okay. Oh, great.
lot of club that blurs together. If you
Okay.
follow me.
Well, any other GOs you'd like to mention? Like not necessarily chiefs of villages.
Yes,
Any
yes.
other,
There's
would you like
Gary, and I'm going to butcher his last name, and I hope
Okay.
it's looking for me.
Okay.
Gary Kusick, Canadian, very hard charging guy, definitely an officer and a gentleman. We keep in touch to this day. Yanni, of course, he passed away. He was another GO I used to keep in touch with all the time. Diamond, he was down in he was in St. Lucia with me. He worked with a mini club, and we would go to the underground, and we'd play like blackjack. This is where they brought all the fish in, and I showed him some of the other parts of St. Lucia that you wouldn't see as a normal GO. And he had a great time. I'm still in touch with him to this day. Johnny Scuba, great man. He ended up marrying a beautiful Mexican girl, Meg Ramirez.
Yep.
And they live out in Colorado. He's an officer and gentleman. Meg is a beautiful young lady. Yes, very nice. They actually came down and visited me one time down in Florida.
Oh boy.
So I'll get ready. I want to exchange the the favor and go out
Okay.
to Colorado. Not
Okay,
just
be careful,
because, any other reason.
Johnny. Rest your liver. Cowboy's coming, Johnny.
Yeah, yeah.
Do a cleanse for
So,
3 weeks or something. Okay.
and then the two, Greg, we've stayed in touch, and it's really
Yeah.
great. And I don't remember if you remember Raphael Raffy from Turks and Caicos. He
Was he on?
was there. I think he was leaving as we were coming in with the
Oh,
boats.
okay. Yeah, most likely. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, his name was Raphael Douglas, I believe. And he's over in. I just got re in touch with him, but he's over in Fort Lauderdale. There's one last guy, and he needs a great mention. His name's John Noseworthy. I got. He was a great guy, and he was a Cowboy's cowboy. This
Okay.
guy was. I don't know the picture I sent you of the two guys on the horses.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
He's the guy with the helmet on, and there's a reason.
Okay.
The reason he's got a helmet. Anyway, there's this one other one. We were talking about college times and how times were rough and tough. And I remember saying, "Yeah, I remember this guy and I, we hung out, and he said, 'Hey, man, what do you say we go catch a movie?'" I'm like, "Okay, I don't have any money." He goes, "That's all right, I'll pay for it." I said, "All right, so after the movie, let's go grab a slice of pizza." I said, "Well, I don't got any money." He's like, "Yeah, don't worry about it. It's okay. I got it. I got it." And then, he goes, "How about a couple beers?" I'm like, "Well, sure, man. I know you're going to make fun. Just go." So then, he goes to his house, which my house isn't far from his or dorm or whatever. He looks at me and he's like, "Well, do you want to come up?" I'm like, "Come up where?" And then he just kind of bluffs. Like, "Do you want to come up to my room?" Whoa. And I'm like, "Well," and I said to myself, I said, "Oh my God, I'm on a date. I don't even know it."
But you're a guy who's always like to each his own, right? You don't judge.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, Greg, I actually thought about putting out because he spent so much money.
Okay. You felt bad, right?
Yeah, I felt bad, poor guy. I mean, I don't want to, disillusion him. I signed out for
You
this
don't want
morning.
you don't want to be rude, right? Okay.
Exactly. I don't mean to be rude.
Oh
All
boy.
right,
Well, that was been such an awesome 100 episode. But before I let you go, Cowboy, can you tell me what are your thoughts on Club Med? You glad you did it?
Oh, Greg, I wouldn't change it for the world. I've met so many beautiful, nice people. I've forged friendships that are still strong today. Gosh, Greg, I'm almost 60 now. This is 30 years ago, and the memories are like they're just yesterday. I can talk to any one of those friends I mentioned, and if I haven't talked to them in 3-4 years, it's like I just talked to them yesterday. And it's just, it really is. And especially in the state the world is in now, it's just nice to know that the world is such a better place with Club Med in it and all my friends from Club Med. And it's really something. And it's like, I love being a part of your podcast and, spreading the word about Club Med.
Well, I think people are really going to enjoy this 100th episode, man, because you certainly brought the fire, sir.
Yes, sir.
And then some. Okay. Well, everyone, that was the famous Cowboy from New York City. If you don't know him, you sure know him now. And I want you to remember something, people listening out there, what old Cowboy does when the earth quakes and the poison arrows fall from the sky and the pillars of heaven shake. Yeah. Cowboy just looks that big old storm right square in the eye and he says, "Give me your best shot, pal. I can take it."
That's it.
Thank you, Cowboy, for everything, man. I really
Thank you,
enjoyed
Greg.
this.
Hey, love you. Miss you. Hopefully we get together.
Yes, sir. And for you people, we'll see you all next week. Bye. Say bye, Cowboy.
Bye-bye, Cowboy.
See you later.